In a small coastal village, Elias, the humble fisherman, lived with his wife Marina. Their life was simple, woven into the rhythm of the sea. Elias would spend his days casting nets, bringing in fish to sell at the market, while Marina dreamed of more. While Elias was content, Marina often gazed at the distant horizon, her heart yearning for a life of wealth and luxury. She dreamed of castles, jewels, and riches, things far beyond their simple cottage. One morning, Elias cast his net as usual, but when he pulled it up, he found a shimmering golden fish. To his amazement, the fish spoke, offering him a single wish in exchange for its freedom. "Please let me go," the fish pleaded, its voice melodic. "I will grant you one wish for your kindness." Elias hesitated, but he was a simple man with no need for anything more. "Your freedom is enough," he said, releasing the fish back into the sea. When Elias returned home and told Marina of the talking fish, she was furious. "A talking fish that grants wishes, and you didn't ask for anything," she scolded him. "Elias, you are too simple." Marina demanded Elias return to the sea. "At least ask for a bigger house," she insisted. Elias, wanting to please her, made his way back to the shore, calling for the golden fish. The golden fish appeared once again, its scales gleaming. "What is it now, fisherman?" it asked. Elias hesitated before saying, "My wife wishes for a bigger house." The fish nodded, its voice gentle. "Go home. Your wish is granted." When Elias returned home, the small hut they had lived in had transformed into a beautiful cottage, complete with a thatched roof and a lush garden. Marina was delighted, for a time. Soon Marina's contentment faded. "A cottage is nice, but wouldn't it be wonderful to live in a grand mansion?" she said, sighing. Once more she demanded that Elias go to the sea. Elias walked to the shore again, his heart heavy with doubt. golden fish, please hear me," he called. The golden fish rose from the water, its golden scales flashing in the sun. "What do you wish for this time?" the golden fish asked. "My wife wishes for a grand mansion," Elias murmured. The fish nodded, its voice low. "Go home, it is done." Elias returned to find their small cottage replaced by a grand mansion, with chandeliers, velvet curtains, and marble floors. Marina was overjoyed, until her hunger for more grew again. Days passed, and Marina's desires only grew. "Why stop at a mansion?" she asked. "I want to be queen." Elias, though hesitant, walked to the shore once more, dreading what was to come. The golden fish rose again, its eyes darker this time. "What does she want now?" it asked. "My wife wishes to be queen," Elias said. The fish's voice turned cold. "Go home, it is done." Elias returned to find Marina seated upon a golden throne, a crown upon her head, servants bowing before her. The grand palace now stood in place of their mansion, but Marina's heart was not at peace. Even as queen, Marina wanted more. "Why stop here, Elias? I want to rule the world. I want to be a goddess." Elias, defeated, walked to the shore one last time, knowing the price of her endless ambition. The golden fish appeared one final time, its eyes stormy and full of wrath. "She has asked for too much," it said. The sea roared as dark clouds swirled above, and a mighty wave surged forward. The sea's fury swallowed the palace whole, and with it, everything Marina had wished for. Elias watched in horror as the great wave took everything. His wife's greed, her ambitions, all swept away by the tide. When the storm cleared, Elias opened his eyes. The palace was gone, and they stood once again before their small cottage. Marina, her crown now vanished, stood beside him, staring in disbelief. Tears filled Marina's eyes as she fell to her knees. She had lost everything in her pursuit of more. "Elias, what have I done?" she whispered, her voice broken with regret. Elias took Marina's hands gently in his. "Happiness is not found in riches or power, Marina," he said softly. "It is found in the simple things, in love, kindness, and the beauty around us." From that day on, Marina no longer wished for power or wealth. She found joy in the small things, the gentle touch of Elias's hand, the sound of the waves, and the warmth of their small home. Elias and Marina returned to their simple life, but this time Marina's heart was changed. She no longer longed for wealth or status. Instead, she began to find joy in the beauty of the ocean and the quiet moments they shared. The once modest cottage felt like home again. Elias spent his days fishing, while Marina began planting flowers in the garden, her spirit lighter and more peaceful than it had ever been. With each passing day, the sound of the sea became a source of comfort. Elias would sit by the shore at dawn, his heart full of gratitude for the life he had, while Marina would join him, content in the quiet company of her husband. Marina had changed. No longer filled with greed, she cherished the simple moments with Elias, watching the sunset together, sharing a warm meal, and living without the burden of wanting more. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Elias and Marina sat by the fire. "I was wrong," Marina said softly. "I had everything, but I wanted more. Now I see the value of what we have." One morning, as Elias cast his net into the sea, he felt something tugging at the line. To his surprise, it was the golden fish, shimmering once more in the sunlight. "I have come to thank you, Fisherman," the golden fish said. "Your kindness and humility have not gone unnoticed. You may have one wish, but this time it will be different. Choose wisely." Elias thought carefully. His life was complete as it was, but he could not ignore the change in Marina. He turned to the fish and said, "I wish for my wife to always find peace and happiness in the life we have." The golden fish nodded, its eyes glowing warmly. "Your wish is granted, Fisherman. Peace and happiness will fill your days, as long as you cherish what you have." With that, the fish vanished back into the sea. As time passed, Marina's heart remained full of peace. She no longer dreamed of power or wealth. Instead, she focused on the joy of being with Elias and appreciating the simple beauty of their life together. Their cottage remained humble, but was filled with warmth, love, and contentment. They were no longer slaves to ambition, but lived each day with grateful hearts. Elias would spend hours by the shore, watching the horizon. The sea had always been his constant companion, and now it seemed to whisper of peace and fulfillment. He felt at home with both the ocean and Marina. With the passing seasons, their life continued to flow like the tide. The garden bloomed in spring, and the harvests in autumn were plentiful. Every moment felt richer now that they valued it. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Elias and Marina reflected on their journey. "I used to dream of castles," Marina said softly, "but now I find everything I need right here." They had learned that happiness was not found in riches, but in the simplicity of life's quiet moments. With each passing day, they embraced their newfound peace with open hearts. On a warm evening, they sat down to a modest meal of fish, bread, and vegetables from their garden. It was the simplest of feasts, but it tasted sweeter than any banquet they had ever imagined. The villagers, seeing the couple's joy and peace, came to admire them. They often gathered at their cottage, sharing stories and laughter, finding inspiration in the quiet contentment Elias and Marina had found. As the years passed, Elias and Marina's story became a quiet legend in the village. They were known not for wealth, but for their kindness and humility, teaching all who knew them the true meaning of happiness. The villagers, inspired by Elias and Marina's peaceful life, began to shift their own priorities. Greed was replaced by gratitude, and the once bustling village market became a place for community gatherings rather than just trade. The laughter of children filled the air once again. The young ones played by the sea, running through the soft sand, their innocent joy a reminder to all of the simple pleasures in life. Marina's days were now filled with tranquility. She spent time knitting warm scarves for the village children, often talking to them about the importance of kindness, love, and simplicity. One rainy afternoon, a weary traveler knocked on their door, seeking shelter from the storm. Elias welcomed him warmly, offering him food and rest by the fire. The traveler, grateful for their kindness, shared a story of his own, a tale of ambition, loss, and redemption. His words were a mirror to Elias and Marina's journey, reminding them that they were not alone in their path. As the rain cleared, the traveler took his leave, thanking them once more. Elias and Marina watched him disappear into the mist, both silently reflecting on the lessons learned from his tale. Late one evening, Elias stood by the sea, the waves crashing softly against the shore. He reflected on the journey they had traveled, from the humbleness of their first life to the peace they now shared. The village, once bustling with the noise of trade and ambition, had settled into a quiet rhythm. People no longer chased after riches, but instead lived in harmony with each other and the land. Marina's garden flourished. Flowers of every color bloomed, and the air was fragrant with the scent of fresh herbs. She found joy in tending to each plant, just as she tended to her own heart. Each season brought new wonders. Winter brought cozy nights by the fire, spring brought new life in the garden, summer brought laughter by the sea, and autumn brought the harvest, each a reminder of life's cycle. The villagers would gather often for shared meals and stories. No longer divided by wealth or status, they united in their common love for one another and the land that sustained them. As time passed, the story of the golden fish became a legend told by elders to their children. It was a story of greed, loss, and ultimately, the power of humility and love. Marina's heart, once heavy with greed, had healed. She was at peace with herself and with Elias, her love for him growing stronger each day. They no longer needed riches. They had each other. One evening, the village hosted a grand feast, not for wealth or status, but to celebrate the simple pleasures of life. Food, music, and the joy of being together. It was a night filled with laughter and unity. The village, though small, thrived. The land was rich with crops, and the sea provided bountiful fish. The villagers lived in harmony with nature, and prosperity came not from gold, but from their deep connection to the earth. Elias, though humble, was known for his wisdom. People from other villages would come to seek his counsel, drawn by the peaceful aura that seemed to surround him and Marina. Years passed, and Elias and Marina grew older. Their hair grayed and their steps slowed, but their love and contentment only deepened. They had lived the life they had once dreamed of, not with riches, but with peace. One last time the golden fish appeared, its scales shimmering in the sunlight. "You have learned the greatest lesson of all," it said. "True wealth lies not in what we possess, but in the love we share." Elias and Marina, now in the twilight of their years, knew they had lived a life well lived. It wasn't marked by gold or power, but by the richness of love, community, and the beauty of the world around them. And so Elias and Marina's story came to a close, not with a grand ending, but with a quiet acceptance of the life they had built together. They had found their treasure, not in riches, but in each other's hearts. A fierce storm approached, dark clouds swirling over the horizon. The wind howled as it raced toward the village, stirring memories of past struggles. But this time, the villagers faced the storm with calm resolve, knowing they had weathered far worse. The storm hit with a force they had never seen before. Trees were uprooted, and the sea crashed violently against the shore. But even in the face of nature's fury, the village stood resilient, fortified by the lessons learned from their past. As the storm raged on, the villagers came together to protect their homes. They repaired rooftops, sealed windows, and shared food in solidarity. Their collective effort was a testament to the strength of their community. When the storm finally subsided, a profound silence took its place. The village was battered, but the people were unharmed. They stood together, gazing at the cleared sky, knowing that they had weathered not just the storm, but all that life had thrown at them. The damage was significant, but the village was not defeated. Together, they rebuilt what the storm had destroyed. With every brick, every nail, they not only restored their homes, but also the unspoken bonds that made them a family. Elias sat by the still waters of the sea, watching the waves lap against the shore. The storm had passed, but he couldn't shake the feeling that it had brought something new, a deeper understanding of life's fragility and strength. Marina, ever the wise heart of the village, gathered the children together and spoke softly. Even in the darkest storms, we find the light of community. It is not the storm that defines us, but how we rise from it. That evening, the village held a feast to celebrate their resilience. Laughter filled the air, and the scent of roasted meats and fresh bread wafted through the streets. It was a night of healing, a night where the past struggles were replaced with new beginnings. On the night of the feast, the golden fish appeared once more in the waters. It was a fleeting moment, a shimmer of gold beneath the moonlight, but the villagers saw it as a sign. Their sacrifices had been worth it. Elias and Marina, sitting side by the fire, reflected on their journey. The path they had traveled had not been easy, but it had taught them the most important lesson of all, that true wealth lies not in what we possess, but in the bonds we form. The seasons continued to pass, each one bringing its own changes to the village. Spring brought the promise of new life. Summer brought warmth and laughter. Autumn brought harvest and reflection, and winter brought quiet rest. Time marched on gently, but its passage was marked not by the hands of the clock, but by the growing children, the aging faces, and the shifting seasons. The village was a living testament to the power of patience, of growth, of resilience. As the years went by, the legacy of Elias and Marina lived on. Their wisdom had shaped a generation of villagers who now upheld the same values of love, community, and peace. The village was no longer just a place. It was a symbol of all they had worked for. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, Elias and Marina sat together in silence. Their journey had come full circle, and they knew that they had given everything they could to their village. As the sky turned to gold, they felt a deep, unspoken peace. Elias and Marina passed into the next world quietly, hand in hand. Their legacy remained in the village they had nurtured, a village now flourishing with love and peace. Their story had ended, but its echoes would live on forever.